Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about social anxiety and being an introvert. But before we do that, I've come up with a name for the podcast. I'm just going to be calling it Introvert Life with NB. Plain and simple. You know us introverts, we like to overthink everything. We like to overcomplicate everything. I'm just going to make it plain and simple. But today we're going to be talking about social anxiety and being an introvert. Let's dive in. Social anxiety. Fuck, it's so fun to have social anxiety, isn't it? It's funny though. Most people think that um, there's a big correlation. Like if you're introverted, you got to have social anxiety. If you have social anxiety, it means you're an introvert. Not the case. Not always the case. For me, it is the case, and I know for a lot of people, it is the case as well. The thing is, being introvert, we can't change that. But social anxiety, that's something that we can work on. And as I mentioned before, being an introvert doesn't automatically mean that you're a socially anxious individual. We can learn skills to manage our social anxiety, but we cannot stop being introverted. My experience with social anxiety, yeah, it's at times it's got really bad. As in, I got really sick, fatigued, shaking, sweaty palms. You know, my body and mind just telling me not to leave the comfort zone, stay in bed, stay in your comfort. It would do all these physical things to try and stop me. But then once I actually jumped out of my comfort zone, once I did what I had to do, once I was there, I was like, dude, I'm totally sweet. And after I'll be like, what the hell? Why did I do this to myself? It's like this never ending battle, like you're playing a game, like you're always chasing yourself. I don't know how to explain it, but it's weird, but it's funny when you think about all the things that you've built up fear of over the years. Like for me, um, a story that I vividly remember um, is when I changed schools for year 11 and 12. Now, obviously, changing schools is daunting in itself. Now, with someone with social anxiety, that's a whole new level. Um, I remember waking up that morning just automatically being sick straight away, having all those symptoms that I said before, sick, shaky, like really fatigued, no clarity, like brain fog, overthinking everything the whole way until I got to the school. Then I met a few people, got introduced. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. And after the first day of school there, I was like, bro, why did I do this to myself? Like honestly, it wasn't even that bad. And like even when it came to me playing, footy, um, training during the week, I'd be sweet. I'd get to game day. Yes, most people get nervous before a game, but for me, having social anxiety, that's a whole new level again. I'd be sick, fatigued, all those symptoms, which is not good when you're meant to compete at a high level, both physically and mentally. You're going into a game not haven't eaten or drinking much because you're just gonna spew it up, and it really affected my game. Like I was so surprised how I could actually go out there and play a full 80 minutes of footy without nothing in my system. It's crazy. I'd wonder why after games I would just be so drained and dead. I'd go home and just pass out because I was so bloody tired. And that's because of social anxiety. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink. I was so nervous, so sick. It's bloody annoying. Honestly, it is. And like with the podcast, when I first started the podcast, getting guests on and all those same symptoms I had before podcast episodes. But the thing is, you just got to keep doing it. You got to keep putting in the repetitions because the more you do it, the more you get better at dealing with it and the less anxiety you get. Like now I can jump on a podcast and have little to no anxiety. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still days that whew, my anxiety is through the roof, and I do have episodes where I do get really sick, um, and I will spew up depending, like if it's a real big guest, like I don't know, I just put this thing in my head, like it's probably a lack of confidence. Now that I'm thinking of it, it could be a lack of confidence, which is then draws on my anxiety. But yeah, when I jump into that podcast, dude, I'm totally fine. And then after, I'm like, once again, why did I do that to myself? And I just sit down and laugh. I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. But definitely getting better. And you know, yes, I'm talking to all my introverts out there, but like also there's probably going to be extroverts that listen to this, and extroverts can have social anxiety and can be anxious as well. And like I guess for them, if they find themselves being anxious, they will talk more, while us introverts will probably like more than likely talk less. And that's why so many people equate introversion to shyness. And for those for those of us who are introverted and socially anxious, we'll stop talking altogether, and fail to express ourselves even if we want to. Um, for me, like I'll want to say something, or I'll want to voice my opinion or thoughts, but I'd have so much brain fog that I just can't get it out, or I'll just go totally blank. I'm like, I totally forgot what I wanted to say. And then once I leave that conversation, like it's happened to me in podcasts, like I would have like a great idea, like something that I wanted to say or ask during the podcast, and I would get into that podcast and I'd just totally forget. I would go blank. And then after the potty, I was like, man, I wish I said that. I wish I asked that. I wish I replied to that question a certain way. But during the time, my mind was just blank. And as mentioned previously, like for the last 22 years, well, 23, 20, well, I only kind of discovered that I was introverted and social anxiety the beginning of this year, last year. So the last 22, 23 years of my life, I thought it was just me. I thought it was just something I had to live with. I've mentioned before, I never felt like I really fitted in anywhere. Here I was, 22, 23, not being able to really socially interact, very awkward, prefer to keep to myself, until I did make that big decision that what I was doing isn't sustainable, especially if I wanted to, really impact people and achieve my goals. I couldn't keep being the way that I was. So I started to do my research and understand myself a lot more. And God, I'm saying and a lot today. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some tips. Tips for introverts to overcome the social anxiety. Now, us introverts, we love to have a plan. We love to know what's going down. Number one is create a plan to face your anxiety. Write down your goal. It could be to have conversations and take opportunities, not let anxiety hold you back. Or if you're in university or workplace and you have meetings and you get into those meetings or lectures and you want to ask questions, but you're always too scared to put your hand up because us introverts, we don't want to be center of attention. We don't want to put our hands up and everyone look at us. Fuck no, that's scary. I know. That could be one of your goals. Put your hand up. Ask a question. Number two is break down your goal into actions you can take. So say yes to opportunities. Raise your hand in a meeting. A good one though, when talking about meetings and lectures, raise your hand and ask questions that you already know the answer to. It's good practice. So at least you're not scared of the reaction you're going to get because you already know the answer to that question. Also, it could be speak to someone new every day. Even if it's a voice message, that can be daunting. And for me, it was daunting. Phone calls, voice messages. I just like to text. And I know a lot of you do too. But recently, in the last few months, I've been doing a lot of voice messages and it's helped me so much with my communication and also my confidence. The replies I get, because it's more personal, and the person on the other end's gonna be like, wow, like this guy sent me a personal message. You know, I'm so grateful for that. It's made my day. I really love that. So definitely try voice messages. It helps a lot. It can be daunting, but as you said, the more you do it, the more confidence you gain. Number 3, positive affirmations. That's a big one, real big one. Create like 2 to 3 mantras, so like sayings that you would say to yourself. So like for me, I could say, there is no such thing as a stupid question. That is true. For all the listeners, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Also, I could say, I will take every opportunity that comes my way. That is probably one of mine that when I made that decision to make a change in my life, that was the promise I made to myself, is I will take every opportunity that comes my way, and I have. Another one could be talking to new people. Is good for me. Is great for me. It's so true. The more people you talk to, the more people you network. Oh, it's so good. Like, one, it boosts your confidence because you can go out and then talk to someone. 2, you're possibly creating, a new friendship, a new relationship that who knows what it could blossom into. There's so many benefits, and like the only downside is if you talk to someone new and they go, "Oh, I'm not really interested in talking." It's okay. Like, there's always going to be someone that's not interested in talking, and that's fine. But it's the fact that you went out there and took that first step and you initiated that conversation. Because us introverts, we're not going to go and initiate that conversation like on a normal basis. But that's something we really need to start doing. Number 4, look after yourself. Eat healthy, exercise, cold showers, meditation, journaling, all that kind of stuff. Because by looking after ourselves, 1, it's good for us both mentally and physically. And 2, the confidence we grow off the back of that because we feel good. Just think, the last time, you ate a healthy meal, you went for a run, you feel so good after it. And when you feel good, it releases, those happy chemicals, the dopamine and all that kind of stuff. You gain confidence off the back of that, which means you're more likely to feel more confident going into social situations. Look after yourself. That's probably the biggest one though is, yes, we can make the plan. We can break down our goals. We can have the positive affirmations. We can look after ourselves. Number 5 though, put it into practice every single day. As I said, it's all good to do all that stuff. But if you do it for one day, if you do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, and then just stop, come on. We got to do it every single day. The only way to get better is to put in the repetitions. Just like with my podcast, when I started, I was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I couldn't sit here. I couldn't have a talk to you. I couldn't, get deep into conversation. My anxiety was shot through the roof. Now, over 120 episodes, 85 guests, I can sit here and do it because I've put in the repetitions. That's what you got to do. It relates to everything in life. It's just about putting in the repetitions and getting better every single day. They're my 5 tips that will help you to deal with your social anxiety. Because just to wrap up what we're saying here is, we can't change the fact that we're introverted, but we can work on our social anxiety and work on improving that and not letting it control us and get the best of us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm really, really enjoying these podcasts because, this is something so personal to me and something I've been, dealing with my whole life. And I know a lot of you have too. I know, majority of the people listening to this are introverts and people who have social anxiety and, anxiety in general. So I know you're going to get value out of this. I know you're going to be able to relate to my experiences. And I just love it. Thank you so much. Like, the fact that you're taking time out of your day to listen to this podcast, honestly, I'm so grateful, and I love every single one of you, and I can't wait to keep doing this. And the community we are building is fucking awesome. I love you guys. Thank you once again for tuning into this episode. Once again, if you got some value, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.